Tim Armstrong just loved riding the hog of Joe Strummer. Back in the day, the Clash had this record called Give 'Em Enough Rope, and Tim Armstrong thought to himself, you know that phrase, give 'em? I like that so much that I'm gonna take 'em, and he took it all for himself. So when it was time for Tim Armstrong to have a record label with bands and a compilation with those bands on it, he was like, I'm gonna slap that give 'em all over it, and I'm gonna have the audacity to put Joe Strummer on the record that I'm stealing from him for, alright? So he wasn't giving him enough rope, no. He was giving him the boot. That was the name of the compilations that this Tim Armstrong guy was putting out on his Hellcat Records record label or whatever. And today we're going to talk about Give 'Em the Boot number 2, okay? My name is Dan Frampton. I am the internet's most ruthless gatekeeper, and I'm here to gatekeep Hellcat Records the way that Tim Armstrong needs to have done with his hand held firmly, okay? Okay, so what the hell am I talking about? Back in the 1990s, okay, there was this record label called Epitaph, and Epitaph put out all these compilations called Punk-O-Rama. These were the compilations that I kind of grew up with. But one of those bands on Epitaph was a band called Rancid. Now Rancid got so big that they could branch off and start their own little sister record label over there, and they started Hellcat Records. And they had their version of Punk-O-Rama called Give 'Em the Boot. Now as a little young punk rocker, I wasn't really picking up the Give 'Em the Boots, even though I loved Rancid. I liked Rancid more than I liked NoFX. I liked Rancid more than I liked Bad Religion. I liked Rancid more than I liked any of those Epitaph bands, but for some reason, I wasn't picking up the Give 'Em the Boot compilations. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because they were like reggae and ska centric, or if they just weren't in the record stores near my house. But either way, these weren't the records. These weren't the compilations that were spinning in my Discman, okay? But this is Tim Armstrong we're talking about, and these are iconic compilations that really crafted so many people's taste around punk rock in the 90s, and I figured I had to dive in. I figured I had to do my own research, because all these years later, the internet's most ruthless gatekeeper needs to have a firm grasp of what was going on those Give 'Em the Boot compilations from back in the day. But like I just said, I wasn't an expert. But do you know who was? Do you know who currently is an expert on this? Someone that I'm gonna need to hold my hand firmly as we walk through the valleys of the Give 'Em the Boot. We're gonna be talking about Adam Crash of CrasHNburN. You might remember this guy from the video that I did, the most interesting channel on YouTube, where he just kind of like breaks into houses and talks about records. I also did a series of videos, a little collaboration for both mine and his channel, centered around the Cyberpunk record by Billy Idol or whatever. So I did my part. I listened to this compilation for the first time in my entire life, okay? But I don't feel confident enough to talk about it from the hip right away. So we're gonna consult the expert over here. Let's go. And first, before I get started, if you're not actually subscribed to this guy over here, CrasHNburN, I'll leave a link down there in the description, and you gotta do me a favor. You gotta go over to that channel, you gotta subscribe. He puts out multiple videos a day. You're gonna be watching those videos, and you're gonna be plopping likes down all over this channel, okay? Because this channel of his needs to blow up. This guy's working so hard, he's very creative, he's very passionate, and I wanna see this stuff really like go through the roof for him. But right now, we gotta learn all about Give 'Em the Boot 2.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss Hellcat Records' second release for Give 'Em the Boot, and that, of course, is Give 'Em the Boot 2. Well, the Give 'Em the Boots. Jesus, this is all because of Jonathan.
I love that, where there's like these like genuine moments of reflection that he has within himself while he's shooting these videos. It's great, and the fact that he leaves them all in, it's just such an authentic experience. There is no channel like this on the planet. I absolutely love it. We're 13 seconds into his video. I'm like, yeah, this is the reason why I subscribe and watch these videos.
Jonathan 138 too. This was a dude that commented on my Give 'Em the Boot DVD review where I discussed the road movie that Tim Armstrong from Rancid made in regards to the Hellcat Records bands at the time.
It's just great because it's the antithesis of what they teach you in like YouTube school, all right, in YouTube videos. If they're like, hey, you want to make it on YouTube? And I just love how it's just like not even regarded, all right? You normally want to start off with something a little bit hooky. You want to get someone's attention. But now this guy's just like telling us who shouted it out, who gave him the idea in a very, very casual, conversational kind of way, and it really like brings you in to just this like hangout, this kicking back session that we got going on over here.
And he commented saying that he wished more people would do more of the Give 'Em the Boot, the Punkoramas from this era, and it totally fucking was like, why don't I do this? These are the fucking releases that I lived and died for when I was a kid.
Exactly, and I didn't live and die for these releases when I was a kid. That's why I need your help, Adam Crash. Let's get through this together.
Why am I not talking about these? So anyways, here I am talking about them.
And here I am talking about you talking about it. Look at all these layers of inception of Give 'Em the Boot we're giving this one commenter, all right? He's like, more people should do content based around these compilations. Now, I'm doing content based on the content based on these compilations, all right? This has gotta, like, satiate the appetite of this guy who wants to be entertained by people talking about these records.
I know. Here's with the Give 'Em the Boots. Tim Armstrong really understood the idea of giving fans a lot for very little.
That is true. There is a lot of songs on here. Okay, Epitaph did it too. There was a lot of songs, a lot of material, a lot of ground was covered every year, every time they put out stuff.
Each of the Give 'Em the Boots, they run you back when they were released. $7 to $15 depending. There's always at least 18, 19 songs representing 18, 19 bands who were currently, at that point, with Hellcat.
That's very cheap and a lot of songs, okay? I know a lot of people watching these videos these days weren't buying records back then, but $5, $7, $15, that's pretty good. Normally you're putting down a 20 piece for like a 14 song record, you know?
And they always included a poster. Now, dude, that is so rad. When you're like just coming out of high school, you're starting college and everything's a little fucking screwy and you don't know if you're coming or going. And then you buy a record that's cheap and it's got a bunch of bands on it that you love and a bunch of other bands from the same label. And you're like, holy shit, you know this is going to be badass. And then you crack it open and there's a fucking poster. And it's like...
You gotta love it. Because... at first, when I heard him say this line, I was like, how are you connecting those things, being like a college kid, getting out of high school, going out into the big old world, and then you crack open a record and you get yourself a poster. You know, it's like, all right, that's funny. I mean, like, I think like a 14-year-old would be more stoked about it. But when you're like going out there to college, you're getting your own dorm room, you're getting your own little situation going, you want a little piece of identity, and the fact that like you're getting a giant poster in a record, that's pretty sick.
Like, you know, it's a good size poster too. It's like Hellcat Records would do this quite a bit with a number of their releases. This poster was so badass. It's the back of the record with the dude with the fucking middle finger with the 1% tattoo on his neck.
You gotta love the 1%ers out there. 1%ers for life.
Just seeing that made me feel so punk when I was a kid. It's so lame. But
there's nothing lame about it. You were a kid seeing the most punk thing in the world, a 1%er giving you the finger. That's pretty punk rock, dude.
This was... I would say that this and the first one, Give 'Em the Boot and Give 'Em the Boot 2, are my favorites of the four Give 'Em the Boots that I was paying attention to. I think there's 5 of them, because I remember owning the 5th one, but the 5th one felt lazy, so I didn't love it. But anyways, INDK is on here with Rent for Sale.
Yeah, it's okay.
You got Rancid's The Brothels.
Okay, so this is a mistake, and he's gonna point out that it's a mistake.
Which is rad, because up until this point, The Brothels...
See, The Brothels isn't on Give 'Em the Boot 2. It's actually on Give 'Em the Boot 1. And instead of just, like, taking this part out of the video, you know what? Because, you know, he's definitely realized that it was wrong. He's realized it was wrong to put, like, a disclaimer in here.
It was unreleased. It wasn't anywhere that Rancid's fan base could readily access this song. There was no way that you were going to find this song. So...
It is a good song, though. That's for sure.
For it to open up with... a song I had never heard from like one of my favorite bands ever, that alone was worth the price tag. I actually, at that point, I doubt I would have cared if it was like $40. The fact that there was an unheard Rancid potential B-side.
I don't think I would pay $40 for an unheard Rancid B-side, but to each their own.
That was a big deal because at this point you weren't able, like, the music industry held us all for ransom pretty much.
Yeah, I do like that comparison. They did. You couldn't just like go onto the internet and listen to a thing. You know what I mean? It was like, we got these songs. You want to hear the songs? Fork it over, buddy.
Like, there's nothing you could do. You bought the records or you didn't hear the songs. It's not like it is now where you just, even if you don't want to pay, you don't, like, say you had an old piece of shit cell phone, some smartphone from wherever, you got it from a friend or something for free.
Okay, perfect.
And you're not paying for the internet, you didn't pay for the phone, and you don't want to pay for Spotify. Well, when you're at a buddy's house, download Spotify, and the next time you're at a fucking coffee shop or something, you just use their Wi-Fi to listen to this music for free.
That's such a long way of saying that you can listen to anything you want for free these days, but it's true.
So it's a radically different world than it was back then. So seeing an unreleased song from a band that you loved, that was a massive motivating factor as to why you would end up buying that record. So the brothels...
No. That is true. Even though, like I said, like I would make fun of anybody that paid $40 to hear a Rancid B-side. If there was those one or two songs that was only on that compilation, it really was the incentive to pick up like the annual release of the thing. For sure it was. I get that 100%. But like, I'm just saying $40 for an unheard Rancid song might be insane.
No, wait. Oh, no, wait. I think I fucked up. The brothels is on the first one.
There he is realizing. Mid-video. Like, contemplation. It's great.
We're talking about, this is Give 'Em the Boot 2. The brothels isn't on here. Fuck. Damn it. Now it's like, dude, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
No, you do. I like how he's having a conversation with himself through the captions. He's about to realize his mistake.
Life Won't Wait is on here from fucking...
That's right, Life Won't Wait is on here. Now, when I listened to Give 'Em the Boot 2, I didn't really hear a punk compilation. I heard like a ska compilation. I heard a reggae compilation with a little bit of punk attitude and a couple punk songs sprinkled in. F- song on here is unreal. I love F-.
Fucking Rancid, the title track from Rancid's yet to be released next record after And Out Come the Wolves. I don't know if Give 'Em the Boot 2 came out before.
And as it says here in the caption, The Kids Are United is on here as well, and it is, and in my opinion, it is the superior song. When I was listening to this record, this compilation, and it goes through, I get a little ear fatigue to all of the reggae going on here, alright? Now, I don't have a problem with reggae, and a good song is a good song. But for me personally, I just got a little tired listening to it.
Or, it doesn't matter. I fucked up. The brothels is on Give 'Em the Boot 1. Ignore everything I was saying about that. But nonetheless, it's still true. When you saw an unreleased song from a band that you worshipped, fuck, that was it. You were buying it. And then there was a poster. Jesus. Oh, fuck.
He loved that poster. God damn, yeah. That poster really made an impression on old Adam Crash.
INDK's Went for Sale was on here. The Distillers had LA Girl.
That song's good.
The Gadgets had Bad Gadget on.
That song's as ska as it sounds.
On here. Now, the best song on here as far as I was concerned was Mouthwash's Fool's Gold. And that was the thing that motivated me to buy their record, 1,000 Dreams. And that record was really good.
I didn't have the same experience with that Mouthwash song. I didn't love it as much.
Good. However, what I noticed was when I picked up 1,000 Dreams from Mouthwash,
all right,
the album's version of Fool's Gold was radically different than the sort of like demo version, I guess, of Fool's Gold that is represented on Give 'Em the Boot 2.
See, that's cool. That gives you another reason to be listening to another thing, you know what I mean? Now I want to go in to that discography and I want to see the difference between those songs now.
So it was a bit of like false advertising because I don't love the album version of Fool's Gold. anywhere near as much as I love the sort of ragged sounding version of Fool's Gold that
I don't know if I'd call that false advertising. Not at all. I like how there's like a demo version on a compilation. I think that's sick. And a lot of the times demo versions are better, for sure.
is on Give 'Em the Boot too.
Especially when it comes to rough and rugged punk rock.
To further the problem there, though, is, as of the advent of Spotify and everybody listening to everything for a flat fee, and essentially Spotify's just, it's controllable radio, right? Like, it's like you don't own all the music on Spotify, but you do have access to millions of songs that you can program and listen to whenever you want. So it's essentially like you've taken control of the radio.
Yeah. You digress.
The problem with Give 'Em the Boot 2 on Spotify is that
comes full circle. All right, now we're talking.
The version of Fool's Gold that is on Give 'Em the Boot 2 is actually the version from the album A Thousand Dreams. So
okay. Now this is making a lot of sense, but not a lot of sense. Now it doesn't give me the reason as a listener to go want to listen to these things, because now he's saying that the record version is also the one that's on this version on Spotify. All right. Now I get that when one version of a song exists on Spotify, they normally just take that version of the song and just put it into other different playlists or whatever. And compilations I can see being built up that way through the catalog of already existing songs on the platform. So I can kind of see how that would happen, and I can kind of see how that spoils the experience, if you're trying to revisit something. But I didn't visit this record, this compilation, these series of songs when I was a kid. So this was a fresh, breezy listen for me.
So that's a little disappointing. But that's only in the sense of listening to this through Spotify. If you own Give 'Em the Boot 2, you have the real version of it, or the correct version of it, so it doesn't really matter.
Correct version, absolutely. It's all about the physical media.
But this was another amazing release with one of the coolest posters I've ever seen.
I love that, man. Third mention of the poster. I love how the poster is held in higher regard than the collection of songs. I want that poster.
And it just made me feel so punk. And on that particular...
Well, I guess when it has that effect on you, when you have a thing that makes you feel that punk, it's going to last in your brain forever.
Particularly sad and lame note, I will end this because, again, I've been rambling for over 6.5 minutes.
It wasn't particularly sad or lame. I loved it. Thank you for teaching me all about Give 'Em the Boot 2, Adam Crash. I'm going to leave my thumb rating on this thing. This whole compilation over here, I'm going to give it 1 1/4 thumbs. Pretty good little compilation, not gonna lie. I'll go back and I'll revisit some of these bands, and I might listen to Give 'Em the Boot 3 or 4. I might even go listen to 1. Who knows how crazy I'm gonna get out here. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see you later. Have a great night. Okay, bye for now. Bye.